Okay, hi guys. So we're super excited to have this leadership sip and chat with all of you. If you went Ruby last month, can you please drop a 1 in the chat, Ruby and above, or maybe this is your first sip and chat, because we're so excited that you guys are able to be on this with us. We have them every single week, and honestly, like we just love being able to get together, share tips with you guys, answer your questions. I know this time we had a questionnaire where you guys could ask us anything leadership level. So we're really excited to actually just kind of kick this off first by just answering you guys' questions. There were a lot of good ones. So we're going to obviously be bouncing off like our top leaders, and they're going to be answering their questions for you. So the first one that I'm actually going to start with is someone asked, I'd love to know what's working for anyone who is rolling just a lot right now. I haven't really enrolled yet this month as much, and I'm feeling really discouraged. Jess, you want to take this one, babe?
Yeah. Hi guys. Let's take this away. So you feel like I'm going to look at the question again because I have them. So you'd love to know what is working for anyone who's enrolling a lot right now. I haven't enrolled yet this month and I'm feeling discouraged. Drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever felt that way. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing all the things and I don't have the enrollments yet. Like, where the heck are they? So for whoever asked this question, look at all the ones in the chat. Sometimes when we're in this place, like we feel so isolated. We feel like, oh my gosh, we're the only ones. Everyone's looking at us and they know that we haven't enrolled yet. And that's not the case at all. First of all, I want you to remember that everything you put your hands to is abundantly blessed. And I want you to pray for that as well. I actually just had this conversation with one of my leaders today. I literally told her, go to your closet, get on your hands and knees and pray. Pray for all of the work that you have done to come to fruition, all of the seeds that you have planted to come to harvest, and just simply asking God is first and foremost. Second thing is making sure you actually truly are doing the things each and every single day. And one thing that I literally teach my girls, and I had to learn this myself, was putting my worth and into my work ethic rather than my enrollments. When you put your goals and your worth into what you're doing every single day, how many conversations are you having? Are you having 10 or are you having 50? Because if you're having 50, the enrollments are going to naturally come. Are you putting up your stories every single day? Are you being intentional with your stories? Are you interacting? Are you bringing people to your page with things other than just it work stuff? I want you guys all to think about your favorite blogger, because obviously we all message, we all bring people to our page, but a huge way that we also enroll and the huge way that we get people is by them seeing it. It's almost like they call it, what is it, when you see it over and over again, it's like a type of therapy where you just keep seeing it over and over again and finally you say yes. I know that there's a statistic out there. I think people have to see it like over 12 times to finally have that inkling of like, yes, I'm ready, I'm going to do this. And so are you showing up every single day? So I want you to step away from how you're feeling about your enrollments and start looking at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. I know that it's easy to think, oh, I'm doing all the things, but do you have a task list out? Are you writing down what you're doing every single day? I literally have a task list that I follow. I've been doing this for 4.5 years, you guys, and I still have a task list that I follow each and every single day, because if I don't do this, I will literally at the end of the day be like, I've done everything. I've done it all. And then I'll actually write down and check off what I've done. And it's like half of what I need to do. So just staying organized with that. And then also knowing that your enrollments are coming, your customers are coming, your distributors are coming, and remembering not to work out of a place of desperation. I feel like that's easy to do, especially when it's been a while since you've gotten an enrollment. You're just like yearning, like, I'll get anything, like someone just buy Fat Fighters or just join me. Like, please, I'll take someone with a cat as their profile picture. Just join me, but don't work your business out of desperation. Work knowing that the best of the absolute best are coming your way, not just distributors, but customers as well. Customers who are going to use their products properly, who are going to use their products consistently, who are going to just like freaking, their minds are going to be blown about our Perks member, and they're going to freaking love it, and they're going to get a big order, and they're going to love everything, and the results are going to be so insane that they're going to become a distributor. Like, I want you wanting those types of customers and working for those types of customers rather than just oh my God, I'm doing everything. And I just please just buy Fat Fighters, please, because people can smell and sense desperation, and that like turns them off. It may be even subconsciously that you're doing it, and the customer or potential distributor may not even know that they can feel it. But when like, just be cool. Like that's my biggest piece of advice is like, just be cool. Like, don't be desperate, have your task list out, pray over everything that you're putting your hands to, and just simply know that it's coming. There's nothing special that I can sit on here and tell you that I'm doing that's working. There's no wording to a follow-up. There's no specific host to post message. There's no TikTok sound that I can sit here and give you. I just need you to switch your mindset, start working your business out of abundance rather than desperation. Have that task list out, know what you're doing every single day, and just know that the enrollments are going to come. And if you need to take yourself to your closet, get on your hands and knees and talk to God about your frustrations and give them to him, do that, because you know what? You're going to walk out of that closet and you're going to feel so much better.
I love that so much. And that actually goes into the next question, Jess. I don't know if you wanted to add on to it, but someone had said, I'm actually doing all the things where I'm getting up 10 hosts of posts a day. I feel like I'm nonstop messaging. I'm working literally all day long. I know my mindset is not on point because of lack of enrollments, but how can I possibly turn that around because I want this business to work for me? I was actually just going to add on to this. And if you want to say something else, Jess, please do. Right there, you already know it's your mindset. You already know that your mindset has taken a hit because of lack of enrollments. And I feel like that's the time when you need your cup filled. That's the time when you need to go to the Lord. That's the time when you need to go to your leaders. That's the time when you need to get inspired and get surrounded by the girls who are winning, like Jess said, and looking at the girls who, yes, that are winning, and kind of like being like, okay, like this is what they're doing. They're doing all the things. So if they're doing it, I can definitely do it. And having that confidence that, you know, literally this was like a saying that people used to say like literally last year, and I kind of like caught on to it, but it literally said, God's in the neighborhood. If he's doing it for one girl and then he does it for the next girl and then he does it for the next girl, what makes you think he's not coming to you next? Do you think that you're less valuable to him? Like the flowers are literally so valuable to God. And if God takes care of the flowers, why would he not be taking care of you? Like you're literally his daughter. He's going to take care of you. You're his top priority. So he takes the desires of your heart and he's blessing all that work. But you have to have the faith of a mustard seed. You don't need an abundance of faith, but just the smallest little bit of faith that he's going to bless that for you. What's your faith in? That's my question for you. Is your faith in your own work ethic, or is your faith in God? Because when your faith is in God, there is no doubt in my mind you will see the results you want to see. I look at all the leaders on here. I know their faith is in God. I know the reason they see results. It's not because they work all day long. You said that in here, you work all day long. And again, these are all anonymous. I don't know who said this, but you shouldn't be working all day long. I'm sorry. I feel like every single girl on here is going to say that. You shouldn't be working your business 24/7. You should be working and then being able to leave and be like, you know what? I did all the work I could. God's going to handle the rest. He's going to make sure that people follow back up with me. People are going to come out of nowhere. The TikTok's going to go viral. That 10th post to post may not blow up, but that 11th post to post will. It's what do you have faith that he can do beyond what your hands can do, right? Because we can only control this, like literally this much, and we want to control this much. And God is saying, let me take care of it all. All you need to do is trust me and trust that I'm going to bless your work. So I know maybe you haven't seen it yet, but I promise that you will. I don't know, Cass, Jess, you guys want to add on to that?
That was really good. And guys, I want you to know too, I'm going to read off some notes that I have. Belief is a muscle. So it's not like some of us have it, some of us don't. This is something that has been a work in progress for years. When you see Haley and Jess and me and all the amazing leaders speak, I promise you, like we were not just born like this. Believe me, I used to have a really crappy attitude and a crappy mindset once upon a time until I realized how important my words are and how valuable they were. And because I know the power of my tongue, I'm very careful with what I say. And I'm very careful with what I speak out, and I pray based on what I want, not based on how I'm actually feeling the current circumstances. But everything that Haley said was spot on. I think the one important thing, this person saying that their mindset's not feeling the best, they're probably not doing self-development. They're probably not praying. They probably put all those things on the back burner. And the thing is, like, if you try to do this on your own human effort, on your own abilities, you're going to fall short every single time. It's going to be exhausting. I actually think Sherilyn Alcala, or it was either Joey or Sherilyn, talked about this at Green Carpet. They said that if you try to do this on your own, eventually, like that steam is going to run out. Like you have to, there has to be a higher power. It has to be God. God is the one that's going to supply everything that you need. And I don't want to do it on my own anyways.
Yeah.
How I got to where I got to, it makes absolute no sense other than that God did it. And the fact that I'm still here, I have no idea other than that God did it and God is blessing it. And I'm glad he's the one carrying it and not me. I don't want that heavy burden. Trust me, I don't. And the same goes for all of you guys too. So remember, when we feel weak, he is strong. So you just have to go to him first. And if you go to him first and completely submit and completely surrender everything in your life, not just your business, how you parent your kids, your marriage, every little thing, I promise you, it's going to feel a whole lot lighter. And then 2 tactical things that I do every single day that I think is very important for everyone. This is something that I've just like learned in my spiritual walk is I rebuke things that don't feel good. So whenever I'm feeling bad or feeling anxious or just feeling negative thoughts, I rebuke them in the name of Jesus. That means to cancel them out. They're gone. And then I always pray the plans of the enemy will fall apart. Okay. Because we're always going to be, having some sort of attack in some way, shape, or form. Something's going to happen. Life is going to happen. Life never stops happening. Life has been happening a lot to me lately, but you know what? I know that God is for me, not against me. I know that the plans of the enemy are going to fall apart. And I know that God has better for me. And I know that he works out everything for our good. So no matter what current circumstances are, I always know that God works out everything for my good, no matter what. And I just pray before I work every single day. And before I do anything, I pray, Holy Spirit, go before me. And this is something my therapist actually taught me. Jesus sent the Holy Spirit here on earth for us to be here, to comfort us, to take care of us, to give us peace. So you can actually call into the Holy Spirit every single day for protection, for help, for anything. So I ask Holy Spirit every single day, go before me before I parent my child. Go before me before I interact with my husband if I'm mad at him. Go before me before I do my work. Because if I don't have him go before me, I'm going to go off of my own human flesh desires, whatever that's going to be. And it's not going to be anything good. And it's probably not going to last. So those are just 2 things that I can say has changed my life completely. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add to that, but there's a lot more I could say about that, but we'll go on to the other questions too.
Adriana.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just because I noticed it in my own life, and I've said it so many times on Zooms before too, but I just want to challenge everyone to like take a second and like be aware and recognize like what you listen to every day, the music you're listening to, the TikToks you're watching, the videos you're watching, the movies you're watching. All of this has a direct impact on how you think, your fear, your insecurity, how like all of it matters. And I don't care if you don't believe me, it's true. Listening to Drake, Cardi B, these are all horrible things you don't want to be putting in your ears. Like it's literally not from God. And whether you realize it or not, it's going to affect and penetrate your life. So if you feel like your life is negative, if you feel like your mindset if you feel like you don't have faith, it's probably because of stuff that you're putting in, because what comes in is going to come out. What comes in is going to come out. That's why you have to be in your word and be in worship music and be immersed in God, because that will come out and it'll be a blessing to you and all the people around you as well. And you'll just feel better. Like you'll feel peace. You'll feel all the things that God has for you, all the fruits of the Spirit. You'll feel love. You'll feel peace. You'll feel self-control. Like you'll feel all of those things. So like I said, just a challenge, because I know all of us here struggle with mindset. I'm not the only one. I'm looking at Lindsay, I'm looking at Haley, I'm looking at Cassie, I'm looking at Freddie. We all struggle with mindset. None of us are perfect, even if we sound like we got it all together on the Zoom. We all struggle with it. Even for me, like sometimes I'm on TikTok and then I'll get anxious, like get off TikTok. All of it's like horrible news and stuff, like get off, you know what I mean? Like be in your word. If you're in your word, you're going to get out, you're going to feel refreshed, you're going to feel good. That's why you do that before you start your work day, before you even open your phone, before you even do anything. Like start it with God, end the day with God. And like I said, I'll say this over and over again, because social media is in our face 24/7 while we're on it. So please just be aware of what you're putting in.
Yeah, that's so good. Does anybody else want to add anything?
Go watch the Boom Zoom. Sam Bowers talked about this, where it's just like there's got to be time for rest, where if you send out 50 messages and you just sit there and look at your phone, it's going to be like watching paint dry. It's going to be painful. So do what you need to do. Put your phone down for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, an hour. Do something productive for your day, even outside of the business, and then come back to it. And then it's not going to feel like you're working every single day, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. And the Boom Zoom was awesome. Definitely go rewatch that. Linz, you want to add on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was reading this amazing book today by Jenny Allen. Yeah, that's her name. It's called Get Out of Your Head, literally so simple. And it's all about God. And the crazy thing is when I bought it, I didn't realize it was about God, but it's one of the best books ever. And I was reading this part and it said, every fight that you encounter is God's fight as well. And the best news is if God can overcome Satan and death, then he can have victory in your problem too. And for some reason, when I read that, like I knew that, but I had to be reminded of it. Don't ever think you're too far above like rereading the word or rereading something that filled your cup once. Like I can't even tell you how many times I watched that dang Boom Zoom because everything that everyone said just hits me. You hear it, but then you listen again and you hear it. Right. And I feel like that's like God's relationship with me. Like if I go to him and I say, I'm feeling frustrated right now, and he tells me like to focus on serving others. In the moment, I would be like, yeah, whatever. Okay. But then he'll almost like get my soul quiet and be like, no, like you need to focus on others right now. And so if you're feeling discouraged in your business or whatever, like don't shy away from talking to God or reading your devotionals, because the enemy is going to try and make you think that doesn't work. Don't do that. That's obviously not working in your favor. And he's going to try and lie and tell you, you need to have control of this because that way is not working. And he's so sneaky. And you almost have to recognize the pitfalls in your mind. And when things are not happening, like if worldly things are not happening for me, I remind myself that they are worldly things. And if I become too obsessed with them, I have to ground myself and I have to focus on God, because when I'm focused on like enrollments, I'm obsessing over enrollments. Honestly, my heart rate can go up. My anxiety can spike. Things can get really crazy up here. But when I focus on God, I remember his word. He has plans for me to prosper. He has erased my past, just these little things. And I have these certain scriptures in my notes that I open up every single day. I want you guys to understand that like your spiritual battle is not just gonna be like one day, like a magic wand is like waved over your brain and you never think a negative thought again. Like the spiritual battle is literally hourly, believe it or not. But one thing that every single devotional talks about is you have a choice. You have a choice. If you're not enrolling right now, maybe your team is. And even if your team is not, maybe someone else is. And you can feed off of that energy. The enemy doesn't want you to do that, but God does. So I'm not going to ramble too much on this. I swear I probably could for hours, but I always have scripture out because the one thing this book talks about is taking captive of your thoughts and replacing them with scripture. So for example, whenever I'm worried about money, I have this scripture. I always say, God's going to Romans 8:28 it. Meaning he's going to work it out for good. Anytime I'm worried about it, I'm like, he's going to Romans 8:28 it. Like I just talk to myself. I literally say that out loud with everything. I'm like, he's going to Romans 8:28 it. I have this quote and it literally says, money is not and will never be an issue for me. My God is an abundant God who loves, I forget. Ooh, I'm kind of embarrassing myself, but I forget what the rest says. And then it says it's more of a blessing to give than receive. And so anyways, I will take my thoughts captive. I will replace them with God's truth. And that's what brings me peace. So hopefully that helped. Sorry if I rambled too long.
No, Linz, that was so good.
So good.
Love that. So the next question I wanted to go on to was finding a balance. I feel like everybody could speak on this one too. Finding a balance when your team is growing of how to spend time with them and then also work your own business. And I've seen this happen. I mean, even with myself, like I would say like even in like the last like 2 years, because I felt like for a long time, and I feel like Linz, Cash, you guys can be a testament to this, but for a long time, it was like just me for what felt like a while. And I was just working on my own, mass enrolling. Like I was bringing in like 90 to 100 customers a month. And I don't even know how God did that. But obviously, I had to pay my bills and I didn't have anybody running with me. But I can tell you what, one thing I did was I stayed patient. And I stayed faithful because I knew that God was going to bring me that team. But I will tell you, when he did, I understand exactly how you feel, because I was like, whoa, wait a minute. All these girls need me, but my past and everything that I've known is I got to keep up with my own enrollments, and they can't falter. And I got to keep them exactly like I have every single month. I'm here to tell you, your months are going to look like this for your personal enrollments in the business. Okay. It's going to look like this. It does not always have to be better than the month before. Your enrollments do not define you. It's kind of like what Lynn said, where she would focus on her enrollments and her heart would start to race. And she's like, okay, like, this is freaking me out. I'm not doing well. Like, you can get into comparison mode. Drop a one if you've ever felt like that. I know I have. I've felt that even this, like literally this year, last month, like I've been there. But I can tell you what, I make sure that I take care of my team first. Because it's just like Sherry Lynn's been preaching this, Cass, you've been preaching this for years, Lynn's, you've been preaching it, like Adriana's been preaching it in my ear. Like, it is all about your team. And at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be me all the time, because let me tell you something, when you focus on them, it does benefit you. And when you actually do it for them and it's not about you, and like I said, like when you're actually diving into God's word, every girl has said this on this Zoom, is the focus comes off you. And the focus comes on to other people. Cassie didn't get where she is because she's so great and she focused on her personal enrollments. Cassie is where she is because she focused on other people and she decided to put them first. Each of us are a testament to that, right? And we wouldn't be here if she wouldn't have done that. I can tell you that right now. She wouldn't have made us a priority, right? So don't be afraid to spend time with your girls, because that's better than your own personal enrollments. I'm sorry if that hurts somebody's feelings, and I understand you take pride in your personal enrollments. That's great. But I'm here to tell you, you can't keep your personal enrollments the highest it can be every single month when you're just focusing on yourself. And that comes from a girl who did that for a really long time. And it didn't get me anywhere. It kept me right here. We literally just talked about this an hour ago. It kept us right here when we focus on personal enrollments. Me and Allison, we're just talking about this. So I just want you to know that it takes nothing away from you putting them first, but the balance is take care of them first, answer your leaders, get with your newbies, check in on your team, and then go put up a post and then go send out your messages. Time it. And if you've got coaching calls, maybe you don't work your business and get out as many messages as you personally would have liked that day. Okay, you'll send out more tomorrow. You focused on your girls. That's what matters. Right? Because I can tell you right now, every girl on this Zoom, when we have a coaching call day, we don't like get up on our stories every hour. Like, it just doesn't happen. We're not like super women, but you know what? God's going to bless that because we're giving to other people. And that's more of a blessing than us just trying to get a $50 cash bonus for 4 customers. Does anybody else want to chime in on that?
That was really good. I mean, Sherilyn Alcal is a testament to that because she was never ever a mass enroller. She was our OG steps to success. The old people know that. So she was never, a mass recruiter like a lot of us. So duplication is the most important thing. And I also heard someone say too, like, if you only focus on your own personal business, you're going to be working a 9 to 5. But if you want a long lasting career, that long lasting legacy money that we all like want, right? That beach money, then you need to build a team. Because you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So you have to go together.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know if you want to take the next one, Cass, but it talks about working your business, tips to working your business with a newborn or a toddler.
I mean, honestly, in the very beginning, I know that every single mom on here is going to have a different way of doing things. For me, I was just survival mode. Like, I did whatever I could. I will say, when I was pregnant, I knew that time was coming. So I worked really, really, really hard when I was pregnant so that I could give myself that grace when I had a newborn to be able to take the time that I needed, because I could do that. I feel like I had earned that. And then of course, when I kind of got my rhythm, for me, the most important thing was just getting up before him. Of course, it's not always going to happen that way because babies and toddlers are unpredictable. So you can plan, but they're going to tell you otherwise. But for me, like, the most important thing is if I can get my morning stuff done before he's awake or before I even have to deal with him, I always feel a lot happier. I feel like I'm a better mom, I'm a more present mom. And I just feel like my cup is full, so I can therefore be better for him and for my team and for everyone else if I start my day first before him. So I mean, I think for all moms, like, you have to get up before your kid. I know that that's not always going to happen. Trust me. I know that there are sleep regressions. I'm dealing with Wesley right now, not wanting to sleep in the new house. So it happened, but you just kind of just have to do whatever it takes. I know that Madison obviously is going through a lot right now with her baby's not wanting to sleep either, and the girl is mass enrolling, killing it, doing everything possible. So like, you just do it. You just do whatever it takes, because like for me, it's like, make this work, or if I don't, he's going to be going into a daycare. Or my
Yeah.
husband will have to go work a job, or I'll have to go work a job if I stop, right? So like, what's the alternative? There is no alternative, right? So because I've always had that in the back of my mind whenever I work my business, there is no plan B, there is plan A, and there's only ever going to be plan A, that I have to make this work no matter what. Of course, there's going to be days where I feel like I failed at everything, and that's okay. Then I start over the next day. Right? I don't just have a bad day and then just say, oh my gosh, I'm just giving up this week or this month because I messed up. No, I keep going. But for me, there's just never been an alternative. Like, I have to make this work because there's no other option. So because I work my business that way, and my gosh, I would never go back to school or to another job. Like, it's just not an option. The thought makes me cringe.
Yeah.
And now that I have Spencer home with me, I never want to not have him with me. So he's going to stay home with me to raise the kids. I'm not doing it alone. So because that's the life that I want to live, I know that I have to work hard for it, because it's not going to get handed to me. And that's just the mentality. That's it. So however way it looks for you, however way you have to make it work, just do it. I'm on my phone, honestly, all throughout the day. I take breaks, of course. But honestly, I'm spending a lot more time with my family versus if I had to work a traditional job and my son was at daycare. Yeah, of course, I'm multitasking half the time and I'm with him on my phone, but it's a whole lot better than the alternative. So I don't think that you should feel guilty for wanting to give your children the best life ever.
Love that. That's so good, Cass. So I'm going to say this, and then anybody who wants to take this, Jesslyn, Adriana, we can all speak on it too. But biggest tip for when you're running after a goal, I'm guessing meaning like a promotion, that seems super out of reach to finish by the end of the month. Does anybody want to speak on this one? I can unmute all y'all. Somebody.
I'll speak on this because Sherry Lynn literally just talked about it, how there's these bonuses, and maybe as a leader, we're looking at them. And I mean, if you're Ruby and you're going after Emerald, there's no reason why you can't get that Emerald. There's nothing too far with that. But in this case, there's also nothing that God can't do, especially if you're ready for it. So I remember whenever I took the jump from diamond to double, my team brought in 7,000 new BV, and we had never brought in that amount of volume before, like extra on top of what we already brought in, like 7,000 new outside of what we ended the month prior with. And it was because my team was ready. It was because there was nothing that God couldn't do. We had never had a jump like that, like maybe 1,000 jump, like at most, never 7,000. It came out of left field. And the only reason that it happened truly was God. So when it's your time, there's nothing that he can't do. I don't want you to think that any promotion is out of reach, first of all, but one thing that Sherry Lynn talked about was these bonuses and how in the past she felt about bonuses. Well, my bonus is too far out of reach. Well, I want you to think about your girls. There is a bonus for every single rank in our company. Executive doesn't exist. There is a literal bonus for every single rank in our company. So who are you to be so focused on your goal being so far away when maybe there's 2 girls on your team that could go Ruby this month? Maybe they are just a $400, but there's no reason that they can't go Ruby this month. And you're too focused and feeling like your promotion is too far away, that you're not pouring into them, because they could get that $500 bonus, could not only change their life, but that could make them stay and become your next ambassador, your next, be even beyond that. They could be your next Black Diamond simply because you're putting more of your focus and your goals onto them rather than your own self. I feel that in my business right now, like the presidential bonus, is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. With anything is possible with God. But at the end of the day, I'm so excited and so more focused on girls getting $500 bonuses, girls getting $1,000 bonuses, getting diamond bonuses, getting double bonuses, because it's all possible. And your bonus will just come naturally. When you focus on those girls getting those bonuses, yours are going to come naturally. It's just like when we talked about your enrollments. Is it easier for you to enroll 100 customers or for you to teach 10 people to enroll 10 customers? It's easier for you to teach 10 people to enroll 10 customers rather than 100 customers yourself. And guess what? It's the same amount of customers. customers, but you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your team. And that's why so many people come here. That's why so many people stay. It's because of the community. I know Emily Wersing has talked about this before. She came and she stayed because of the community. There's a million people who join It Works, and maybe they're not the best, but they stay because of the community and because we care. So I want you to check yourself and what you're caring more about, because as leaders and with these big old bonuses, it's so easy to get wrapped up in like, oh my God, that would like be killer for my bank account right now. That would be killer for paying off this debt. That would be killer for getting this house. That would be killer for getting this car that I've been dreaming about. But what about the girl who's under you, who joined you 3 weeks ago, who doesn't know how she's going to pay her phone bill this month? And that $500 bonus, or even scratch the $500 bonus, that $150 4-in-1 bonus is quite literally going to change her life, because now she knows how she's going to pay her phone bill. Or a girl who's been in for a couple of months, who's, you know, maybe not been the best. Maybe she enrolls here and there. Maybe she's not been in it. Maybe she just needs Mama Bear. Maybe she just needs you to pour into her, to talk to her, to FaceTime her every single day. So I want you to focus on your team. When that goal seems so far away, girlfriend, put it out of your mind, have it there, have it as a goal, but start swimming down into your team. What girls can you help get bonuses that don't seem so far away for you, but also realizing that there's nothing that God can't do. And I promise, when you're serving those girls with those $500 bonuses, $1,000 bonuses, $5,000 bonuses, your bonus is just going to come naturally. And not only is it going to come naturally, it's going to be sustained naturally as well, because you're not going to have to worry about, how am I going to bring in 100 customers this month to keep this promotion? It's going to come naturally, and you know that your team is ready to run and equipped to bring in those 10 customers each for 10 girls. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, it's so much easier to focus on your girls and how close they are to their promotions rather than how far you are from yours, because yours will just come naturally. And when you focus on those girls, it's going to come naturally. You're going to have a sustainable team. You're going to have those leaders that you pray about every single day, that you dream about every single day. You're going to have girls like you. Think about you whenever you were a brand new distributor. Maybe you were the best, maybe you weren't the best, but when someone started to pour into you, I know for me personally, like, I didn't have someone pouring into me like I needed to, but I did have Cassie. Cassie like took me under her wing. Lindsay took me under her wing. So many leaders took me under their wing and poured into me and helped me and focused on me about my bonus when I wasn't even on Lindsay's team, and she was pouring into me, less worried about a bonus for her and helping me, and swam down into an organization that wasn't even hers and poured into me. And that's why I stayed. And that's how I got those bonuses. And you know what? Their bonuses came naturally too, regardless of the fact that I wasn't on their team. It's just like Haley talked about. When you go down and you help people who are in need, you're going to be blessed so much more abundantly than just working out of desperation for yourself. So when that bonus seems super far away, don't even focus on it. Focus on the 10 girls right in front of you who are, you know, a couple 4-in-1s away from $500 bonuses that are quite literally going to change everything for them.
So good. Does anybody want to add on to that? That was great. That was amazing. All right. So the next one I want to go on to, that really just sticks out to me is, and someone recently put this in here, so I'm thinking that you felt moved on the Zoom to drop this question, but it says, I've really fallen behind and I need some help getting back to where it was. Right there. I don't know why I feel like I'm going to cry. Right there, I feel like I've been there, and I'm here to tell you that right there is the valley. And I want you to know that at the end of the day, sometimes God is literally the loudest and talks to you and has that one-on-one time with you the most in the valley. And he's trying to teach you something. Okay. So what I want to tell you is to dive deep into a relationship with the Lord in this time, because I cannot tell you how much it probably pains him that you want to go back into the past and you think that you have fallen behind, when in reality, he says, no, daughter, this is a part of my plan. And I just want to get close to you. And I just want to talk to you. You have not fallen behind. I've been here with you every step of the way. And at the end of the day, we're just in the valley. Let's talk. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how you're feeling. Just lay everything to me, surrender everything to me. Every time I've ever surrendered a goal in my entire life, it literally has all been taken care of. Every time I've surrendered something that was hard for me in my life, anything that felt like it was going to break me, and I surrendered it and I gave it to the Lord, he helped me out of the valley. And you know what? There's going to continue to be valleys in my life, but I feel like in the valley, that was when I was closest with the Lord. So I just wanted to just say that. And I don't know if anybody else, if you guys want to chime in on that, but I'm here to tell you, you haven't fallen behind. You are exactly where he wants you to be. Take this time to be with him, dive into a relationship with him, and he's calling you higher. He's getting you ready. He's preparing you for whatever has been preserved for your life, and it's about to come to fruition. You just have to actually take that time to be with him so that you can start to see even a small part of the vision that he has for you.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
I wanted to add to that too, because on the Boom Zoom, I just watched it today, can y'all tell? But on the Boom Zoom, it was Ashley Mayfield. She talked about being happy where your feet are. So I'm someone who's like super impatient, like give me same day Amazon delivery, like drop a 2 in the chat if you're the same way. I've always been that way. I remember in college, you guys know, like TJ and I were long distance, and I remember being so mad, and he used to tell me, Jess, you've got to be happy where your feet are. And I'm like, first of all, screw off. No, I don't want to be happy here. I want to be miserable, right? But I'm so grateful for that time now, looking back, like, yes, I did miss my person a lot, but I grew so much. And so where our feet are right now is not always like the most comfortable place to be, but you have to be grateful and you have to be happy where your feet are right now, because where your feet are right now is preparing you for that next level. And I can promise you, in this business, we always tell everyone that it is impossible to fail. And I'm also going to say this, it is impossible to go backwards as well, because we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving. I don't care what eSuite says, I don't care what your volume says, you haven't gone backwards. It's literally impossible. So be happy where your feet are right now, even if it is a little bit painful, even if it is a little bit uncomfortable. Think about all the things that you're learning in this time. And one thing that I always like to remember too is when I'm in the valley, the only thing that I can think about is, first of all, there's a mountaintop right in front of me, so everything's going to be freaking fine. Second thing that I like to remind myself of, and I remind my girls of this too, is like, think about the girl that's about to come along on your team who's going to go through the same exact thing, and you're going to be able to help her through it because guess what? You survived that exact same valley as well. That's part of leadership. We have to go through things to grow. We have to go through things to grow through things, to teach things to girls who are going to go through it and grow through it as well. I know that there's so many instances in my business that I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And guess who was there to help me? Cassie, because she went through it already, because she grew through it already, and she helped me grow through it as well. So just remember that whenever you feel like you've gone behind, first of all, you haven't. It's impossible, girlfriend. You are so much better now than you were. Even if you were even if you're a rank below what your lifetime rank is, you're still better now than you were a year ago when you were at that rank. Why? Because you've learned so much more, because you're seasoned, because you're wiser. And so just remember that. And remember that you can't go backwards. Remember that you can't fail. And just remember that this time is preparing you for something like so much bigger, better, exciting, all of the exciting words that you could ever think of than you could ever imagine coming forward, and that will come to fruition. And this is just kind of like a little obstacle course that you've got to get to the other side.
So good. Adriana, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, that was good. I feel like I don't really have much else to say besides you aren't like falling behind. The only way that you're gonna fall behind is if you're not trying. So just don't ever give up. Like, yes, you will fall behind if you are putting in 0 effort. Just don't put in 0 effort. Don't sit on the sidelines. Like, just try. I feel like a lot of times, and listen, me too, in the 7 years that I've been doing this business, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sucking right now, but I just wasn't really putting one foot in front of the other. Like, I wasn't really trying. Like, are you trying? Are you consistently trying? You know what I'm saying? So if you're really afraid of falling behind, then stop stopping. That's it.
So good. Lindsay, you want to add on to that too?
Yeah, just real quick, a part of that question that stuck out to me is, did the person say they want to go back to how it was? Was that the correct wording? Okay, so what makes you think that what you already experienced was the best you're ever gonna have? Because I used to be weirdly obsessed with like what used to be. And then I'm pretty sure it's Isaiah 43:18. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it basically says, forget the former things, like God's making a new way. If you were around in 2018 on this team, you know how incredible that year was. And I used to literally live in 2018, but the year was like 2020. And I used to live in the past mentally. So stop thinking, I want to go back to how it was. Like, there's a reason why it's already done. And every time I used to be obsessed with what was, God would like gently remind me like that the best is yet to come. It's actually ahead of me. So I would get excited about the future. You can't be so obsessed with the past that you're like, that's the best I ever had and I'm never going to get. And I'm trying to go back to that. Why? What's ahead is so much greater. So that's all I wanted to say.
I love that so much, Linz.
So good.
Do you want to do the next question or you want to add on?
Let's see.
We can do the next one.
Let's talk about conference really quick.
I was just gonna
because-
say that.
Oh, perfect. So this is like going to be a really quick response, but if you guys were not at Green Carpet, we found out, unfortunately, conference is actually going to be a little bit smaller than Green Carpet was, and that's just because of it takes a lot of time to plan to get these venues. This will be the last year that will ever be smaller, because going forward after that, they've already signed contracts for a large venue that holds 5,000 people. But that means that conference is going to sell out like 1,000%. We had about 900 people at Green Carpet. They said this new venue maybe holds 600 to 700, maybe. So that just goes to show you conference will sell out. They're going to have viewing parties local in Palmetto at corporate, but it's not the same if you're not in the room. And obviously everyone that was at Green Carpet, like drop one in the chat, you were there and it was incredible. And obviously you're so glad that you went, and it's not the same, you know, hearing it from home, or, you know, even if it's live stream, I don't know if they're going to do that. But well, they actually will, because they're going to have watch parties, but still it's not the same. Like, you guys have to be there. So therefore you guys have, like, you need to get your ticket. Like, it's not even like a question, like you have to have your ticket. And here's the thing too, like, if you're even like iffy about going, like, what makes you think you're going to get team to go? Because the thing is, like, it's not even about you going, it's like, how many girls on your team can you get there? Because the more people on your team that you get there, the more your business is just going to multiply. Because every single year that I've ever had a conference, or I've been to a conference and I brought girls with me, my business literally would like triple, if not quadruple. There was one year my business actually quadrupled. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I have the freaking eSuite says it. My volume and my income quadrupled in 1 year. The numbers were insane. Everyone literally, like, it was the most insane year ever. And I can tell you, like, a huge part of that was conference. And my gosh, could you imagine if I just like waited to buy my ticket and didn't get my girls to go?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be there. Like, I know it's an investment, but like, if you guys are on this Zoom, like, you're pretty much invested into this business at this point. It's not just like a side hustle for you. Like, I would imagine most people on the Zoom like want to make this their full time, if it's not already their full time. So if you're already wishy-washy about it, which you shouldn't be, because who wants to be wishy-washy? Like, you have to be there. And if you're not there, honestly, you're just going to be missing out. And I think that as a leader, like, if you want to take your business to the next level, like, it's not even a question, like, you have to be there. Plus, you're just going to have FOMO. And I know that there's going to be so many things that they're going to bring out. I mean, we can't really say much, but the little things that I've seen, like, it's going to be incredible. I literally can't wait. Like, what John and Sherilyn are doing is so exciting. Just the way they're rebranding our entire company. It's going to look so luxurious and so amazing and so beautiful. You have to be there. And I know that conference is just going to be like just the start of it. So you need to get your ticket, and you could do the pay by commission, but I promise you it's going to sell out quickly. Once they're sold out, they're sold out. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but like, I think everyone knows that they need to be there.
I was going to add on just one thing. I'm not going to tell like my conference story, because every time I tell my story on a Zoom, I include conference, because conference quite literally changed my life. And I wouldn't have gone if Lindsay wouldn't have texted me. She's the whole reason that I went. I had no intention of going. And in January, that was when conference was. She texted me and all she had to say was, Haley, you're special. You need to be there. And that was it. That sold me. That sold me to the fact that I took the money out of my savings, bought my plane ticket, bought my conference ticket, found a place to sleep. I slept on the floor. I didn't even care. I just wanted to be there. And someone telling me that I'm special and I need to be in the room really made me feel like I couldn't miss it. So I'm forever grateful that she said that, because after that conference, I quit all my jobs. I went full-time with the business. I would not have done that if I know for a fact I wouldn't have done that if I didn't go to conference. Because that was my first day of school, was the conference night. Thursday night, I was late. That was my first day of second semester of grad school. And I remember I waited till after class to leave. And I'm just here to tell you, like, you guys just never know whose lives you're going to change just by telling them you're special. You need to be there. I want you there. It is going to change your life, right? And because at the end of the day, like, I just truly think about everything that God had to do to speak through Lindsay, to get me on the plane, just everything I went through to be there. I know I was meant to be there. And I know that decision to actually go full force with my business was one of the best decisions I ever made in my entire life. And it all just came from a seed planted in Lindsay to text me. Lindsay wasn't even she's not even she didn't enroll me. It's an enrolled of an enrolled of an enrolled. And Lindsay still reached out to me. So I don't care if it's your personal girls or girls of girls of girls, get them there, ask them, tell them how important they are, because guess what? They might not be hearing that from anybody else. And sometimes they just need to hear that. And that's what pushes them to go. I know that we didn't want to stay on that very long. So the last question that I think would be really good to talk about is, someone said, now this is for people who have been in this for a while, and even if you are new and you're new Ruby and above, I feel like you can still get whatever we're going to give you from this question. And I think it'd be good if all the leaders could speak on this. But basically it says, I built to Diamond 2 years ago. I lost rank. I don't have the same team that I used to have. I've been in this really weird place for a while, not knowing if I'm ever going to find the right people to promote with me again. How do you absolutely get out of that mindset and attract good working people on your team that want this as much as you do? I'm just going to say two brief things. One, you don't attract anybody. There is no attraction involved in the people that come into your team. You receive those people because God puts your page in their feed and brought them to your team. The Lord did that, and he will continue to do that. And the second thing I was going to say is, you got to have faith that you're worthy of people like that. You're still in the business because God's not done with you yet. There's a reason that you're still here. And I'm here to tell you that after years of doing the business alone, I still had a feeling God's not done with me. Cassie would tell me all the time, you'll get your runner, just keep running. You'll get your runner, just keep running. Lindsay would be like, you're doing great. Just keep going. Don't stop. And that was the best thing I could have ever done. I didn't look back and be like, this is where I was, even when I did lose rank, even when I did lose 2 ranks, and look back and be like, oh, I was here, but now I'm here and I'm still alone. I didn't focus on that. I just focused on the fact that God still had more for me. And that was enough for me. And this was in the very beginning of my relationship with the Lord. This is in the beginning of me even understanding what a relationship could be like with him. I just had a feeling on my heart, God's not done with me yet. And I want you to write that in the chat. God is not done with me yet. I want everybody to write that. God's not done with me yet, because I'm here to tell you that if he was done with you, if he was done with you in this business, you wouldn't have woken up today. You wouldn't be on this Zoom right now. He has so much more for you. And I understand that we can't possibly understand that, because his supernatural vision for us, we're never going to be able to understand. But I just want you to have a little bit of faith that if you just keep doing what you're doing, he's going to bring the people to you. He will put them in your page. He will put them in your inbox. He will bring them to you every single day. And that's all I wanted to say on that. If somebody else wants to jump in on that
And
one.
also another thing
Okay.
to write down, I mentioned this a while back, is I wrote down a sticky note, I haven't seen success yet.
Yeah, that's good. Love that.
And everything that Haley said was so spot on. But one thing I can obviously say too is like, you just need to change you, because you've been self-sabotaging for a very, very, very long time. And that's exactly where the enemy wants you. And you just have to break free of that. And it's not going to be just something that happens overnight. It's going to be a work in progress. But I promise you, like, once you start working on you and your mindset and your personal development, and once you start realizing that you are worthy for so much more, because there's absolutely nothing different between you and me and Haley and all the other girls. Trust me, I feel so inadequate all the time. And I feel like I am absolutely no one special. I question God all the time. I'm like, why the heck am I here? I don't get it, but I know it's because God has a plan for me that's so much bigger than what I can even comprehend. That's why, everything has transpired the way it has. And I'm just thanking him the entire way. And I'm just doing the work and just following his lead, because it's crazier. This whole business life is bigger than ourselves, and we need to call on to him. And I know that with him, he can make a way every single time. So these little problems and these little setbacks and your promotion that seems so hard, this is something so simple for God. It's no hard task for him. I always think about that anytime something feels so hard for me or so far away. I always think like, this is easy for God. And because it's easy for God, I know that like, if he can do it, and if it's in his will for me, for it to happen, like it's going to happen. I don't have to worry or stress about how it's going to happen. I just have to put myself to work and trust that in his timing, it's going to come to fruition. And because I believe that and know that to be true, and I have to remind myself that all the time, I can rest knowing that like, I'm doing my best and God is going to take care of the rest. But you have to truly believe that you are worthy enough. Like, stop talking crap about yourself. Stop speaking death over yourself, over your business. Stop thinking that you're not good enough, because that's absolutely not true. All of those things are lies from the enemy, and you have to start working on yourself, guys. The book Power Words, like, I know I said it so many times before, and I'm a broken record, but if you have not gotten that book, you need to get that book. And if you have it, you need to read it and read it over and over and over again, because it is so powerful. The words that you speak over yourself, over your business, over your life, over your family, all of that is so important. And most of you probably are still like speaking terrible over yourself, and you're literally cursing your own life, cursing your own business. And that's exactly what the enemy wants. But God doesn't want that for you. And literally, when you speak things out, whether you realize it or not, it's like you're giving authority, and you're literally agreeing with the devil. Why would anyone ever want to do that? Right? It sounds so silly when we say it. Like, why would I want to agree with him? I don't want to. I'm going to speak good, amazing, positive, life-filled things. That's why the Bible says, think about things that feel good, that are true, right, noble, lovely, I forgot what verse that is. But he says, meditate on those things, because those are good things. So no matter what your life circumstances right now, no matter how crappy you think it's gone, I promise you there's still things to be grateful for. And there's still amazing things that you can meditate on and be grateful for. And I promise you, if you start having that attitude of gratitude, I know that sounds cheesy, but if you start thinking about all the good things that he's done, I promise you, he'll start opening up the floodgates for more amazing things. And you're going to be a happier, more joyful person. So yeah, that's it.
That's good. I love that.
I'll add on to that real quick, just something short. I truly believe things can change for you, whoever wrote this, but only in proportion to how much you believe they can. And a lot of the times I'll find myself doubting what can be done. And I have to remind myself that that is another just really sly tactic of the enemy. And instead of telling God about my problems, I tell my problems about my God, and I just trust in him, and I just kind of take it from there. So, like I said, I truly believe things can change for you, but only in proportion to how much you believe in it. And I think you have to get to this point where you realize not believing isn't doing anything for me. So I might as well just believe. You don't need a lot of belief to start something. Normally faith is really tested in the midst of things, and that's when you have to keep going and use that faith muscle. But yeah, I just wanted to say that.
So good. Adriana, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I'm just reading the message. It says, I've been in a weird place for a while, not knowing if I'll ever find the right people to promote with me again. So if that was like one of my girls coming to me, I'd be like, okay, that's okay if you feel that way, but let's change it. So that says, I don't know if I'll ever find the right people to promote with me again. Now I would add on to my affirmation board. I would say, I am finding the right people to promote with me. I am Ambassador Diamond. My team is full of mass enrollers and strong leaders. I am a mass enroller. I am strong in Jesus Christ. if you don't feel it, I don't care, say it, because half of these things I wrote down, I didn't even believe about myself until I prophesized them over myself. That's why speaking out loud, verbal, stop leaving all these things in your head. It's okay if you feel that way. No one's shaming you. We all feel that way sometimes. But instead of saying, I don't know if I'm going, no, change it. Anything that's negative in your head, change it, and out loud.
Wow, so good. I wanted to say, unless you have something else to say.
No, that was good.
I was just gonna say, to kind of close us out, I want to encourage not only the person who wrote this, but everyone on this Zoom. You know, Adriana was talking about the music you listen to. And one song that has been repeatedly, I feel like just every single day I want to listen to it, is Too Good to Not Believe. I don't know if anybody knows that song. But wow, that song makes me not only feel, but know that God has done so much good in my life, and miracles in my life, miracles in Cassie's life, Adriana's life, Lindsay's life, Jess's life, Nayara's life, like every girl that I have seen in this business, I've seen a miracle in their personal lives, in their business. I've seen God show up and show out every single time. And that's because I know that they believed that he could. And even in times where they had doubts and they had fears and they were scared or they were negative, at the end of the day, they still had the smallest little mustard seed of faith. I'm going to come back to that again, that I started the Zoom with, the smallest little mustard seed of faith, that God could still do it. There's still that little part of you that's like, yeah, maybe you're saying all these things. You're like, but yeah, maybe it could happen. You know what? That's the Holy Spirit. That's the Holy Spirit asking you to trust in God's plan, because God already told the Holy Spirit, and now the Holy Spirit is trying to tell you that there's so much more for you than what you feel. And I'm so glad Adriana said that, because there have been way too many times in my life, probably every day almost, that I have felt maybe that I couldn't do it, or that I wouldn't ever be at this point in my life, or that I couldn't push through something. But God proved me wrong. God proved my feelings wrong time and time again. You want to know why? Because your feelings come from your flesh. It literally says in the Bible that you can't function off the ways of your heart, because your heart will deceive you every single time. You have to go to his word, and you have to remind yourself of his promises for your life. What Lindsay said was literally one of the things that stuck with me the most tonight, is this woman has verses to remind herself. She knows the devil's tactics. He's come at her again and again and again, and it's not different. And she reminds herself with speaking the word over her life. And that was so huge. If that doesn't make y'all want to go get into your Bible and get on fire with the Lord and start writing down scripture so that you can combat the enemy, you already have the power of the Holy Spirit, the power of Jesus Christ, the blood of the Lamb, who literally died for you on the cross. In you, you can conquer anything because he already did. So don't for a second think my thoughts are stronger than me. I can't do it. My feelings are too strong. It's too much for me. I'm here to tell you nothing's too much for God. And that's why you have the Holy Spirit. So ask the Holy Spirit for guidance. Ask the Holy Spirit of truth to speak to you, and just find comfort in the fact that God will always be on your side. No matter what's going on in your life, he's on your side. Everything he does is for you, never against you. So whatever season you're in, you're supposed to be there and realize, wait a minute, this is for my good. As hard as this is for my good. And I'm going to see something out of this. So I hope that something that any of these amazing women have said on this Zoom tonight really spoke to you guys. We'll get the recording out to you all really, really soon. But thank you guys so much for hopping on with us. We appreciate you, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Bye, guys.